Zara pressed her palm against the cold metal wall of the human space station and felt her heart racing in her chest. The blue light from her skin grew brighter when she was nervous, and right now she was glowing like a small star captain. Lisa Morgan walked into the meeting room where 12 other human officers sat around a long table. Their faces looked serious and tired. Zara knew this meeting would decide her fate. The war between her people, the Veltar, and humanity had been going on for 3 years now. Zara was supposed to be a spy sent to learn human weaknesses, but something had gone wrong. She had started to care about these strange creatures with their soft skin and short lives. Zara, you need to understand the situation, Lisa said in her calm voice. Your government wants you back. They say if we don't return you within 7 days, they will attack this station. Zara looked around the room at faces that had become familiar over the past 6 months. There was Dr. Amy Collins, who had taught her about human medicine, Lieutenant Jake Parker, who showed her how humans played games for fun, and Commander Beth Taylor, who had become something like a friend. I do not wish to return, Zara said in her careful English. My people, they do not understand what I have learned here. The Veltar were a proud race that believed they were superior to all other life forms in the galaxy. They were taller and stronger than humans and lived for over 200 years. Their technology was more advanced and their ships could travel faster than any human vessel. But in 6 months living among humans, Zara had discovered something her people had missed. Humans had something the Veltar did not have. They had the ability to care for others even when it brought them pain. She had watched Dr. Collins work for 18 hours straight to save the life of a stranger. She had seen Jake Parker give his own food to hungry children during their stop at a refugee station. She had watched Beth Taylor cry when they lost a crew member in battle. The Veltar did not cry. The Veltar did not sacrifice for others. The Veltar took what they wanted and moved on. Your people are threatening innocent lives. Commander Taylor said, we have 3,000 civilians on this station, including children. Zara felt the weight of those words. Her own people would kill children to get her back. This thought made her skin glow even brighter with distress. There might be another way, Dr. Collins spoke. What if we could fake Zara's death, make it look like she died in an accident? That would be lying to her government. Lieutenant Parker said, it could make things worse. Worse than children dying. Beth Taylor asked Zara, stood up from her chair, and walked to the large window that looked out into space. She could see her people's ships in the distance waiting for an answer. I have been thinking about this for many days, she said. In my culture, we believe that honor comes from strength and conquest. But living here, I have learned that true honor comes from protecting those who cannot protect themselves. She turned back to face the humans. On my world, I was a warrior. I fought in many battles and won great victories. But here I have learned to heal instead of harm. I have learned to build instead of destroy. Lisa Morgan leaned forward. What are you saying, Zara? I am saying that I choose to stay, even if it means war. I choose humanity. The room fell silent. Zara knew she was asking these people to risk everything for her. She was asking them to fight her own people to protect her choice. We need to think about this carefully, Lisa said. Your people have weapons we have never seen before, ships that can appear and disappear without warning. I can help you with that, Zara said. I know their tactics, their weaknesses. I can teach you how to fight them. Over the next 3 days, Zara worked with the human military officers. She showed them how Veltar ships used quantum tunneling to avoid detection. She explained how their energy shields could be disrupted with the right frequency. She even drew diagrams of their weapon systems. But she also did something else. She sent a message to her younger sister Kira, who served on one of the Veltar ships. The message was simple. Sister, I have found something here worth fighting for. These humans are not the weak creatures we were told they are. They are strong in ways we never understood. Please try to make our people see. On the 7th day, the Veltar fleet moved closer to the station. Zara stood on the bridge next to Captain Morgan, watching the approaching ships. Last chance to change your mind, Lisa said. I will not change my mind. Zara replied. These people showed me kindness when they had every reason to hate me. They taught me that strength is not about how much you can destroy, but about how much you are willing to sacrifice to protect others. The first Veltar ship opened fire on the station. The battle began. What happened next surprised everyone. The humans fought with a courage that impressed even Zara. They used tactics she had taught them, but they also used something else. They used their willingness to risk everything for each other. Lieutenant Parker flew his fighter directly into enemy fire to protect a damaged civilian transport. Dr. Collins stayed in the medical bay treating wounded, even when explosions shook the station. Commander Taylor led a boarding party to defend the reactor, Core knowing she might not come back. But the most surprising thing came from Zara's own people. 3 Veltar ships suddenly stopped firing and moved away from the battle. Zara watched in amazement as her sister's voice came over the communication system. Zara, we have been watching you through our long-range sensors. We have seen what you do among these humans. We have seen you heal their wounded and comfort their children. Some of us begin to understand. The battle ended not with victory or defeat, but with something neither side expected. A small group of Veltar led by Kira asked to be allowed to stay and learn about human ways. 6 months later, Zara stood in the same meeting room where her fate had been decided. Now she wore the uniform of a human medical officer and worked alongside Dr. Collins in the station's hospital. She had given up everything: her home, her family, her entire way of life. But she had gained something more valuable. She had found a purpose that went beyond conquest and domination. She had learned what it meant to truly serve others. The war between humans and Veltar continued in other parts of the galaxy. But on Station Alpha, there was peace. Humans and Veltar worked together, learning from each other. Zara often thought about the choice she had made. She could have returned to her people and lived a comfortable life as a respected warrior. Instead, she chose to stay with these strange, short-lived creatures who cried when others suffered and celebrated when others succeeded. She had risked her life to stay, and she would make the same choice again. Every morning when she walked through the station's corridors and saw human children playing with young Veltar, she knew she had chosen correctly. Some things were worth fighting for. Some things were worth dying for, and some things were worth living for. The humans had taught her that the greatest strength was not in taking what you wanted, but in giving what others needed. They had shown her that true honor came not from winning battles, but from protecting the innocent. Zara had come to spy on humanity, and ended up learning what it meant to be truly human herself. She had found her home not in the place where she was born, but in the place where she chose to belong. As she looked out at the stars that night, she smiled, knowing that somewhere among them other wars were being fought, and other choices were being made. She hoped that others would find the courage to choose love over fear, hope over hatred, and life over death. The galaxy was a big place full of different peoples with different ways, but Zara had learned that some things were universal. The desire to be understood, the need to belong, and the courage to stand up for what was right. She had risked everything to stay, and in doing so had found everything she had never known she was looking for.